Deep in the heart of British Columbia, Canada, lies a global treasure few people know even exists. Neither coastal nor tropical, this is the inland temperate rainforest, one of the rarest ecosystems in the entire world. Stretching over 16 million acres from the interior of British Columbia into parts of the United States like Washington, Idaho, and Montana, these forests have stood for thousands of years, evolving in near isolation. In this video, let's journey into their depths to discover why scientists call this the rainforest you've never heard of. And as always, this is Ali and welcome back to Urban Atlas. You see, temperate rainforests themselves are uncommon, covering less than 1% of the Earth's land surface. One great example of this is the Great Bear Rainforest located on the western coast of Canada. And like the Great Bear Rainforest, most temperate rainforests cling to coastlines where ocean moistures feed their growth. But British Columbia's inland temperate rainforest sits hundreds of kilometers from the Pacific Ocean. The secret to this rainforest's existence is the regional geography. You see, it's located on the eastern end of British Columbia. On the western slopes of the Columbia Mountains, moisture-rich air blows across central British Columbia until it collides with the Columbia Mountains and its forest upwards. These clouds then cool and release their moisture, creating what scientists call an interior wet belt. Annual precipitation here can exceed 1.5 meters, comparable to parts of the Amazon rainforest. However, unlike other coastal rainforests, nearly 70% of this precipitation falls as snow, blanketing the forest in winter. And when spring arrives, this slow-melting snowpack extends the growing season, creating the consistent moisture these forests need to thrive. And this hydrological system creates a network of pristine waterways, from tiny streams to powerful rivers, that serve as the lifeblood of the entire ecosystem. Locations such as Revelstoke and Rogers Pass are among the snowiest in Canada, and both are located in this unique temperate inland rainforest. The story of these forests began at the end of the last ice age, roughly 10,000 years ago. As glaciers retreated, pioneering species gradually established themselves on the newly exposed landscape. But what makes this forest truly special is its remarkable stability. Without the regular disturbances of coastal storms or frequent wildfires, these forests have remained unchanged for many thousands of years. In some valleys, we've found evidence of forest continuity stretching back 7,000 years. That's extremely rare globally. But today's inland temperate rainforest isn't uniform. It's a mosaic of different forest types, each shaped by subtle variations in elevation, aspect, and soil conditions. Cedar hemlock forests dominate the wettest areas, while spruce and subalpine fir become more common at higher elevations. And thus, the most visible ambassadors of this forest are its ancient trees. Western red cedars and western hemlocks dominate, some reaching over 1,500 years old. And these giants can reach height of 50 meters and diameters of 4 meters or even more. In addition to the rainforest above your head, there's also a rainforest beneath your feet. You see, moss communities are signature features of the inland temperate rainforest, and over 400 species create intricate miniature worlds, capturing moisture from the air and releasing it slowly into the ecosystem. Even more diverse are the lichens, which is not a single organism but a partnership between fungi, algae, and bacteria. Over 700 species have been documented here, many growing high in the canopy where they're rarely seen by human eyes. After rainfall, the forest floor erupts with fungi of all shapes and colors. These decomposers break down fallen trees and recycle nutrients, but they also form underground partnerships with living trees, exchanging minerals for sugars through vast networks. This continuous cycle of life and death is perfectly illustrated by nurse logs, fallen trees that provide the perfect growing medium for the next generation of forest trees. And perhaps no species better represents this forest than the endangered mountain caribou. Unlike their tundra relatives, these caribou have adapted to life in old-growth forests, feeding on arboreal lichens when deep snow covers other food sources. With specialized hooves that act like snowshoes, mountain caribou can access parts of the forest inaccessible to other ungulates. But this specialization has become a bit of a liability, as old-growth forests are starting to disappear. In total, the inland temperate rainforest provides critical habitat for over 70 mammal species. Grizzly bears dig for roots in spring and feast on berries in the late summer, Wolves, wolverines, and lynx patrol these forests, following the movements of their prey animals. Its clean, cold streams support bull trout, an inland population of salmon that journey hundreds of kilometers from the ocean, and thus these fish bring marine nutrients far inland, feeding both wildlife and the forest itself. Interestingly, it has been estimated that much of this forest biodiversity remains undiscovered. Scientists believe that thousands of microorganisms, fungi, and insects may be unique to this ecosystem, with many yet to be named by science. Today, forests like these are revealing new secrets to science. Recent studies have documented how trees communicate through underground fungal networks, sharing resources and warning each other of threats. In addition, the soils of these forests are also proving to be exceptional carbon sinks, storing significantly more carbon than many other forest types. This makes their conservation increasingly important in an era of climate change. You see, the combination of cool temperatures, consistent moisture, and minimal disturbances has allowed these forests to accumulate extraordinary amounts of carbon over millennia, which makes the conservation of these forests increasingly important. Today, the inland temperate rainforest faces unprecedented challenges. Industrial logging has claimed over 50% of the original old growth, with only about 10% of the forest's original structure remaining intact. Climate change also presents another serious threat. Rising temperatures are altering precipitation patterns and increasing wildlife risks in ways that these moisture-dependent ecosystems cannot easily adapt to. And for species like the mountain caribou, these combined pressures have been devastating. From thousands of animals historically to fewer than 1,200 remain across their entire range. But there is hope. Growing recognition of this forest's global significance has led to increased conservation efforts. Scientists, First Nation communities, and conservation groups are working together to establish new protected areas and sustainable management practices. In some areas, innovative forestry practices are being developed that maintain the ecological functions of the old-growth forests while allowing limited resource extraction. Moreover, First Nations are increasingly taking leadership roles in conservation planning, combining their traditional knowledge with modern science to define new models of stewardship. The inland temperate rainforest has persisted for millennia, witnessing the rise and fall of civilizations, yet remaining relatively unchanged. But in just one human lifetime, its future has become uncertain, thanks primarily to anthropogenic changes. What makes these forests truly irreplaceable isn't just their biodiversity or their carbon storage capacity, it's their power to connect us to something greater than ourselves, a living system that operates on timescales far beyond human lifespans. And what happens next depends on our choices. Will we recognize the irreplaceable value of these ancient forests before they disappear? The legacy of North America's inland temperate rainforest and the countless species that call it home now rests in our hands. And remember, if you like content like this, remember to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. It keeps me motivated to keep making awesome and interesting content like this. And as always, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.